So,
You're from Canada? Ah, do you want me to sign it? I'd love to. To Sasquatch. Bernie's Sasquatch. Bernie's Sasquatch. Orit. There you go.
hey everybody, welcome back to the UK Americana of our show. Thank you for joining us. Orit Shimoni, just about to bring you part 2 of this great interview that we did with her. If you watch part 1, you'll see how fantastic she is. She's absolutely a wonderful character. Before we bring part 2, just to let you know, we've got a new feature on the show called Your Music Story. It's where we invite the audience to tell their music story on their iPhone or a mobile device, to say about I met Elvis in the chip shop, or maybe not Elvis, Beyonce walking down the street, anything, your music story. And just send it to us at this address and we'll get it on the website. Fantastic, you're going to enjoy it. Really, really, really cool. We've got lots of artists telling their music stories as well, so you're going to really, really enjoy that. So without further ado, Orit Shimoni, what a wonderful character, what a singer-songwriter. You're going to enjoy this. She's going to tell us all about her new album and where she's going. So check her out, Orit Shimoni. Thank you. So where did you record this stuff?
In Winnipeg.
In Winnipeg, in Canada?
In Canada. Winnipeg is the city I got...
all the albums there?
No, not at all. I'm not from Winnipeg at all. I got stranded there. I was, like I said, I had been living nomadically for 11 years and travelling by public transit, Europe and across Canada back and forth. And Winnipeg was the one city I never stopped in, just because of the logistics of it. And it was the one place I didn't really know anybody. And finally, someone from there discovered me and said, I'd really like to bring you here for some concerts. Come on over. And I did. And that week that I arrived, the whole world shut down. And they said, shelter at home. But I didn't have one to shelter in. And so it was like a really panicked
time for you, yeah.
What do I do? What
did you do?
I froze. I thought about, could I go somewhere else quickly before the numbers rise? And I froze with indecision and just thought, you know what? It's going to be an interesting story if you stay in the one city you don't know. It'll be fresh for your brain. You don't have a backstory here. You don't have any, enemies or exes here to get into trouble with. So just say and see what happens.
Yeah, you did, and it worked out well for you. I've spoke to various artists, had the same sort of, lots of them had the same problem. In the middle of albums, in the middle of doing this, doing that. Then this lockdown came in.
I think most of them had a place to live at least.
Yeah, I know. I did read that.
I did feel like I was in a particularly terrible situation.
So was that? That must have been a bit of an awkward time for you then.
It was awful. Yeah.
So I mean, you, at that time you still did put pen to paper and write stuff. I suppose that's what you had to keep occupied by. Do you find some of that stuff was interesting now when you look back at it? Different, a bit more.
I tend to. It's the only album I would say is so period specific that it's very much. I was taken in by the people who were supposed to host me for a concert. Right. I lived in their basement very distraughtly for a couple of months, and in that time,
that was kind of them.
It was, yeah. I mean, that's the way I've lived, but not under such duress. So it was pretty intense. But in that basement, in that period, I wrote all the songs that are on this album.
Well, it's getting tremendous write-ups all over the place. You must be very proud of it. So I suppose out of negativeness comes a little bit of positiveness.
You got to make the best out of things, don't you?
Tell me about this one-woman show that you did.
I thought I could certainly write a one-woman sort of theatre piece where I tell a sort of retrospective of my work through that specific lens. And it was really interesting when I wrote it because there was a real narrative arc, like from being a really little child and reacting to protest songs, which were the songs that got me the most interested in picking up a guitar.
Started a lot of
I think so, yeah, and anti-war especially, and anti-violence especially, and it just gave me this sort of sensibility for it. And then to see that that even in songs that weren't explicitly about that, it was always in there somewhere. It's sort of like the real ethos of why I do what I do is like a sort of peacekeeping
Well, that explains.
mission.
I was going to say we get you inspiration, so that explains a lot.
A lot of it, yeah. It's like a sort of desperate plea for humanity and peace across all cultures, and it's like how can we transcend our own heritage and trauma.
Trying for 2,000 years, but we're not very good at it, are we?
It feels like we've hit a bit of a slump, haven't we? It's fun.
nothing new. It seems to have a lot to do with you. Well, if it's this rotten, then it's best to leave. It's not the loss of love, but the bad fact that I grieve. But I'm still learning how to love.
So it's Love, Sweet Love.
Yeah, what was it? John Lennon.
Oh yeah, that I think
Same,
like sort
Give
of
Peace a Chance.
the joke's on me, because when I was about 11 or 12 years old, it was my fantasy to be a protest singer when I was older, and it didn't
Really?
occur to me
Wow.
that meant I was wishing for
Not
things
such
to
a bad thing. Now go look at Bob Dylan and
yeah,
know.
but that meant I was wishing for things to still be
to be-
protest worthy
yeah, sure.
when I grew up.
Yeah.
So that
I got you. Yeah,
yeah.
So you wanted it all to stop actually, so you can
Yeah.
go. Yeah. So do you get likened? Look. Do you get likened to Barbra Streisand?
No.
Joan Baez.
Sometimes.
Joan Baez.
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks. No.
I mean, in the voice.
In the voice.
Yeah. There's a few, you know, but like...
don't you do a bit of acting as well?
Not really, no.
You don't? Oh, I thought I read somewhere you did a bit of acting or theatre work.
Well, the sort of... But it's like non-fiction acting, if that makes
Non-fiction
sense. Like,
acting.
I'm on stage talking, but as myself. I haven't, like...
Oh, that's
gone
great.
Fictional, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather not have reasons to protest.
Who would be your inspirations?
All of them.
Joan Baez, we talked about.
More Dylan than Baez, to
I
be
see a bit of
honest.
Stevie Nicks in you as well. Is that a good scenario?
I don't,
to
yeah, but I
put?
didn't... It's... I mean, I'm flattered, certainly. But, I mean, I actually...
Not necessarily the Fleetwood Mac side of her, but when she does her own kind of stuff.
I didn't grow up listening to her. I sort of came across who she is and how she sounds much, much, much more recently. I did listen to the male songwriters, which created some songwriting issues for
Have
me
you heard
as
any
well.
more stuff?
Not yet.
You don't want to. don't
Dylan,
listen
Paul
to it.
Simon, Leonard Cohen,
Wow, yeah, of course.
Townes Van Zandt. Is that, you know, a lot of interviewers and fans ask me, like, who are your influences and who are you a big fan of? And to be honest, when I came across songs, and I'm kind of ashamed of it because here I am trying to be a known artist, I never paid attention to... I fell in love with songs. I never went to ask further, who is it by, who's the one singing, maybe who's the one singing. Never who wrote the song. I never asked those questions.
I fell
just
in love when
with
I
songs.
started off. I fell in love with Sam Cooke.
Oh.
You know, Cupid and
Yeah,
Chain
but that's
Gang.
the voice.
That was the start for me. Then went on to Elvis imminently. He just changed everything for me, and then it just got bigger and better after that. It's quite ironic, you know, talking about like your Michael Jacksons or your James Browns, and all these guys that are constantly so creative and so. That's why I say about you, you know, you're a storyteller. To tell a story, it's very difficult to start a concept and write that into a song with a melody. I mean, in your case, painting paintings and...
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's like the clearest way to
It's a
synthesize.
fabulous album. It's
Thank
so
you.
fantastic. Get up there again. In case Bernie, you know we've got a Bigfoot here. Do you know we've got a Bigfoot?
I've heard.
She works downstairs.
I've heard. Yeah.
And she loves it as well.
Oh,
So
she's just she.
it's a she. She's
Oh,
a
I
she.
didn't know
Yeah,
that. Oh,
yeah,
that's
she's a
nice.
she. She's
Yeah.
very, very tall as well. What is the future? What's the future? I know you're in the
That's
UK.
an insane
You're in
question
the
to ask
UK.
me. I've never known the answer to that at any point in anything I've ever done. I have no idea.
Oh, great.
I've never known, and I think I prefer not knowing.
Yeah, good for you.
That's a funny question. No clue.
No clue.
No clue.
Is there any chance, if I twist your arm, that we could get maybe a song or two out of it?
Probably, yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, why
Can
not?
you look to that camera and tell you don't mind doing it?
I don't mind doing it. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm here to do.
Do you know what? For the minute, I told you she was fantastic. She really is. Orit. I can never pronounce your second name. Shimoni. Shimoni. What does that remind me of? Shimoni. Shimoni.
That's right, yeah.
Orit Shimoni.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really
It's
do
my
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Bless you.
All right. Shall we do a song then?